Greetings YouTube, Fuzzfinger here, welcome to another Ni no Kuni 2 tutorial video. Today we're going to be focusing on kingdom management. I've got a few tips to share with you. Having picked these up myself, having played this feature for about 25 hours now, I would have liked to have known these things right from the get-go, so hopefully this will help you on your way. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like and be subscribed to my gaming channel for more like this in the future. Tip number one then guys is level up your citizens. This is so important. The game does not level them up automatically, and once their experience bar has filled out, if you do not go ahead and level them, they will stop gaining experience altogether until you do. And if you forget or neglect to level your citizens regularly, you could seriously hamper your progress. So go to the Citizens tab from the main interface, and you can see any citizens that can be levelled by the floating blue icon with the white arrow in it on their heads. And you can select that citizen and jump to the facility where you can micromanage them from that point. So go to personnel on the building that they are located, select the citizen and select the options key or whatever the associated key is on the Steam version of the game if that's what you're playing. You'll get this box saying level them up, select yes. This will then give you a bit of information on how their stats have increased, and if they've reached master rank, that's the highest level they can reach. If they haven't reached master rank, if they go from beginner to veteran, then they'll continue leveling throughout that next rank, and again you'll just have to level them up again once they've reached it. Tip number two, as you start to expand your kingdom, it can be a little bit annoying having to travel around in order to select various different buildings. Now there's two ways you can combat this. First of all, if you know the building you want to visit, you can literally select it from the facilities button and jump right there. Alternatively, you can hold the R2 button down on a PS4 controller, again, whatever the associated button is with that on the PC version, and you'll then speed around the map faster than a bullet, and it just makes traversing the place a lot more enjoyable in my opinion, especially as I say, as the kingdom grows. That's the R2 button, so there's the normal speed, there's the sped up speed, you can just fly around and have some fun there. Tip number three, don't waste your citizens. So eventually guys, as you progress through the kingdom builder, you're going to complete all the research that a building has to offer. When that happens, your personnel are not going to be accomplishing anything by staying there, unless it's a building that's actually, you know, gathering items or what have you. Many of these buildings do not have those features, so just go ahead and remove those personnel from that building and assign them elsewhere where they're going to be useful. Just make sure you do have all your personnel assigned in some building, even if it has to be in a building where all the research is completed, or they will not gain any experience. Tip number four, make good use out of the citizens, facilities and research tabs on the kingdom management screen. So you don't actually have to use these because you can fly around your kingdom, but you can actually save a lot of time just by seeing all the information you need to see in easy lists here. For example, I can quickly see that Yukon here needs levelling up in the citizens list. I could also see if any citizens were not associated in buildings, and I can sort that out immediately. And same is true for the facilities. You can see which facilities have citizens in at a glance, which facilities don't, and also what their IQ is specialised in, so you can associate the right citizens immediately. And also research. Now later on in the game, this is really going to come into its own, because as you start to complete lots of the research that the kingdom builder has to offer, it can be a little bit daunting to just go around all the buildings seeing which research needs to be completed. Well, this tab is going to solve that for you. You can literally scroll through the list and see what it is you still need to do. Oh look, I've completed the research there. I can know that instantly. Tip number five, be aware of some of the niche buildings and the facilities that they offer to you. Now your main priority is probably going to be in upgrading and researching what's available at the weapon workshop, the outfitters and the spell works. But when you're not doing that, there's also some other buildings which you may or may not be interested in depending on how you're playing the game. For example, the Dimensional Lab is an interesting one, since it gives some quality of life improvements to the Dream Door side quest dungeons that occur out in the world. And there are 10 of these Dream Doors dungeons to complete, and there's a trophy associated with doing so. So if you're going to focus on those, then the Dimensional Lab is a great building to have, and with research to complete to help with that. There are other buildings as well, of course. For example, the Sage's Salon is pretty useless until you level it up, but when you do level it up, you can stick your citizens in here and level them up a lot faster than they would in other buildings. And there's other buildings as well. For example, the training ground, which is great for giving you various ways of earning extra experience depending on how you play the game, and you can focus on researching those specific ways depending on how you do play. And also, one you can get in Kingdom Hall level 1 is the barracks. So if you do a lot of skirmishes, then this will be a great way of improving the quality of those skirmishes. And finally guys, talking of niche buildings, the Symphonium is pretty pointless. You might like the idea of being able to listen to music. Unfortunately, the dude that becomes available for this doesn't actually become available until much later on in the game, so don't be in a rush to build this thing. And second of all, you have to be standing right next to the building for this to actually work, so you can't just go, you know, gallivanting off around town and still listen to the music. And one more little tip for you guys in terms of buildings. There are some buildings that exist only to increase your influence, and that's it. So don't be in a rush to build them. Sometimes they can be a little bit expensive. 55,000 Kingdom Guilders to level up the good fellows in. Now yes, that will give a big influence boost, but I don't need that at the moment. You can't associate personnel here, and you can't do any research. So don't be in a rush to do this stuff unless you really do need the influence. And final tip then guys, number 6 here, is that many of the buildings' sole purpose is to give you lootable items. So the way this works is that each building will have a set of items that you can get from it, and if you click the options key, then it will tell you what items they can be. And you do need to have personnel associated with the building in order for you to be able to collect items. And as you level up the buildings, more items will become available. So if we have a look at the fresh fish market, for example, here, at the moment we've got 8 items that can be given to us, but if we go ahead and level this up, then we can still get those 8 items, but on top of that we can now get a bunch more as well. So many of these are going to be useful in side quests later on, so don't neglect levelling up your other buildings and making sure that you have personnel associated with them so that you can just really fill your bags up with as much loot as possible. You never know when you're going to need it. Alright then folks, well that's it from me. I hope these 6 tips have been useful to you. If they have, please don't forget to leave a like and come back soon for more Ni no Kuni 2 content. Take care, goodbye.